Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookham here. I haven't done one of these in a while, and today I've got the pleasure of showing you and sharing Your Physique February of 1951 with Alex Aronis on the cover, 18-year-old muscular sensation. Indeed he was. Fantastic classic bodybuilder from the silver era. This magazine was actually very hard to come by, and I found it, I believe, in France, not in the States or Canada, where Your Physique was published and circulated originally. So it's in great condition. Some great articles within, which I will share. Especially, it's almost like a Reg Park special, because there are so many articles with Reg Park, featuring Reg Park, and I found it very, very a very satisfying read, basically. So hope you do enjoy this. Besides being on Reg Park, it actually has quite a lot on the World Weightlifting Championships, but seeing that I don't necessarily cover weightlifting too much, I'm going to go straight into the first article that I found really interesting. I'll go all the way actually to the Reg Park article, and that is the personal interview that Joe Weider had. And this is a very, very rare interview that Joe Weider actually had with Reg Park after Reg Park had spent, I believe it was approximately 6 months in the US, at least 6 months, if not longer. This particular interview I've actually scanned and actually sent to Reg Park, to Reg Park's son, Jon Jon Park, who was very happy to receive it, because there's some very rare photos here of Reg. Even one of apparently here with his girlfriend prior to having gotten married, of course, to his later wife. So yeah, some very rare photos in total. I mean, here's another rare photo here of Reg Park with a splendid back double biceps pose. What I really like is a great, for example, front lat spread from Reg Park. He talks about how he was inspired by John Grimmock. This particular interview, Reg Park talks about how he got started in bodybuilding through a person that he saw in the swimming pool, and I think his name was, yeah, that's right, Dave Cohen. So really what I liked about it was it gave a lot of insights into Reg Park's beginning tale into bodybuilding. His story reflected exactly what Jon Jon Park was telling me, and even more. So there were some great little stories in here. All the questions that were answered by Reg from the questions that were given by Joe Weider. Again, some really beautiful photos here of Reg Park. Look at those capped deltoids, arms are full, trim waist, full, beautiful armor-plated chest. I mean, damn, he looks like a sculpture, on that pillar. Reg Park does. A wonderful photo of Steve Reeves. Beautiful photo here. And yeah, it's just brilliant, right? It's really, really brilliant. I did want to share this particular first article with you. And yeah, now I'll go through the whole magazine. And so, as I mentioned, the first few pages are actually on weightlifting, but I've skipped that. And now I'm going to actually show you something I mentioned in a previous video that I made on the frequency of training. That there was a question as to how frequent were bodybuilders training back then. And in What's Your Problem, here some basic power exercises are given, a kind of routine for gaining power, which I have also explained. But what I really like here is about Barton Horvath's transformation. Barton Horvath was a silver era bodybuilder back in the 40s. Actually, I don't know whether you recognize this photo, but this is a very similar photo to the very first photo of a bodybuilder that appeared on the very first Your Physique magazine, the volume 1, issue 1, with Joe Weider only circulating 600 copies, and it has Barton Horvath on the cover. You can see his amazing transformation over 10 to 11 years. Here he is now here he is, I believe, in his late 20s, and here is Barton Horvath in his 40s. And you can see how much mass he gained, but it's over 10 years, mind you. 10 years of bodybuilding, of natural bodybuilding. That's what it's going to do to you. Today, I, for example, had this guy saying, how long should I bulk up for? 2 months? No way, mate. To really get an impressive physique, listen and read Bill Bill Pearl's work, Arnold's work. Their books really say it all. It takes you 5 to 10 years to develop an impressive physique, at least. And so, no wonder these guys who trained back then, starting in the 30s, continuing in the 40s and 50s, eventually developed a phenomenal physique. But it takes many years of hard work. I mean, these guys want to cut up after just a couple of months of bodybuilding. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You're going to look so thin and like a prisoner of war. It's not the way to do things. And that's what I like about the truth that's and the knowledge that's given in these magazines is very obvious here. So yeah, this fantastic transformation over 10 years of Barton Hall it speaks 1,000 words, doesn't it? It's just brilliant. Maybe I should do a video on this. I think it's a fantastic transformation. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't get that. Natural bodybuilding takes a long time, a very, very long time. And here's another great article, again by Alan Stephan, on developing power and bulk using cheating exercises. And I've done a video on this actually, which is linked on this particular video. And from memory, the exercises included, oh, that's right, the cheating curl. The second was the I think it was the it's a cheating bench press, but with a body thrust or a body shove kind of thing, a bounce off the body, right, or a bounce off the belly, something like that, off the torso, right. You're supposed to kind of heave the weight off as it comes down onto your chest. You're supposed to, oh, that's it. It's called a body toss. You're supposed to toss and use the contraction of your hamstrings, glutes, basically a posterior chain, to toss the bar up slightly to get it past that sticking point. That's the bench press. So I've covered all of this in a video. Another one was the cheating row and the continental press. All favorite exercises of Alan Stephan, again, which you'll find in a separate video that I already covered on this particular article. Another article that I covered based on this magazine, based on these articles, was triceps development by Charles A. Smith using the cable station, or as it was called back then, the lap machine. A brilliant article, really giving all sorts of variations as used in the silver era. I mean, these guys, I keep saying it, they were pioneers. They really made the greatest use of the little equipment that they had. And yeah, there's a whole, I think in total of 7 exercises that are described in this fantastic article. Again, I've already done a video on it. You can find it, and it's linked in the description and above. A brilliant exercise indeed. Another great another great article, I should say. And so this is another fantastic article, again written by, this time, Leo Robert, Mr. Canada, America's muscular marvel. A beautiful photo here of Leo Robert showing his aesthetic proportions, his wonderful symmetrical physique, and his exercises. I believe I already also shared in a video called, I think, Developing That High Chest, which was really all the fad back then. It was really in vogue to develop that armor-plated look, that square-chested look that Reeves held, that Park held, right? And it was all about working the pecs, the upper pecs, at the right angle. And that's what I like about this particular article. Not just that Leo Robert really emphasized the importance of breathing and on keeping the rib cage high. And you can actually see it. I've blown up all the images on the article, on the video which I covered on this particular article, and you can really see how perfect his posture is, how high he keeps his chest, and how expanded he keeps it, to really focus on expanding the rib cage and keeping the chest high, and really working on isolating the upper pectoral. It's a brilliant article. I really enjoyed that one. I already talked about the interview with Reg Park, the very rare interview, and what I wanted to say actually was that this article, if I didn't say it, this interview, if I didn't say it before, I'll say it now. The interview was given by Joe Weider as Reg Park would return to England. He was returning to England from his approximately, I think he stayed in America for several months. I don't know if it was 3 months or 6 months, and he trained with all the greats: Marvin Eder, Clarence Ross, Abe Goldberg, of course with Joe Weider, and the whole Steve Reeves. I even think he trained even with him, or he met up with him or something. But he traveled all around the States. I think it was a present from his parents after he won Mr. Britain, and in doing so he picked up further competition wins. I believe he won the Mr. World, Mr. Europe, other titles, America's Most Developed Man, I think, from my conversations with Jon Jon. And after his touring of America, he finally said goodbye, and this was the final interview that Joe Weider gave with Reg Park before he left, right? So it was stating that it was a very, very historical article, very historical interview, because it was the first time that Reg Park was in the States, and he obviously left to Britain after that. Following was a great article here, Secret of the Champs, featuring a beautiful photo here of Clarence Ross, in colour actually. And also, I think this is the article that talked about the frequency of training by different bodybuilders in the silver era. That's the article that I based that video on. And what I really liked about this particular article was also a great shot here of Rocky Kent, who's a very relatively unknown bodybuilder who I'm going to start talking more about. The reason I'm going to start talking more about is because about him in particular is because his son Kamal got in touch with me, sent me photos and programs of Rocky Kent that I want to display on this channel. Very rare information on this bodybuilder and wrestler, and that's what I love about this channel. I get the opportunity to sometimes I get emails from the family members who contact me and tell me what a wonderful job I'm doing, that they thank me for having talked about their ancestors or their parents or their grandparents. And occasionally they send me stuff which I've never seen before, and I probably don't think anybody else has. So I'm very grateful to Kamal for sending me stuff about his father, and I'll continue to talk about his father, Rocky Kent, shown here. Truly wonderful bodybuilder that I'm going to start talking about more often. It's truly fantastic. Here's another great article written by Reg Park called Those High Pecs for That Powerful Body. Haven't covered it on the channel, but of course it's not that much different to the information given by Leo Robert on developing high pecs. So yeah, a brilliant article nonetheless by Reg Park on developing the high chest. And that's basically it. That was the magazine. The rest is just some ads, and the rest of the articles. I do hope you've enjoyed watching this video where I've shared Your Physique 1951, the February issue, featuring Alex Aronas and several articles on Reg Park. Some rare photos of Reg Park, rare photos of Clarence Ross, Steve Reeves, Rocky Kent, and others. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet to the Golden Era Bookworm. Leave me your comments, and thank you again for watching. If you'd like to support my work, the fact that I share all this stuff on the internet, that I acquire all this stuff and then share the knowledge with you, please donate via PayPal. You can visit my website, www.goldenerabookworm.com, for how to print books and courses, as well as self-written books. You can also become a patron to support me that way, or if you wish to contact me, be it because you have bodybuilding relics that you want to pass on, books, magazines, you want to collaborate, or you are a family member of a deceased, passed away, a late bodybuilder who was part of your ancestry, your father, your grandfather, whatever, please get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. I always do. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed watching the video. This is the Golden Era Bookworm. Bye for now.